Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Two Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I wanted to weigh in on something that I saw down in the comment section and have been seeing ever since Kashin Koji started explaining how 10 Directions works, which is this belief that Boruto's being extra cautious around class rep because Kashin Koji told Boruto of a bad future that comes from being in contact with class reps. Some people have even gone so far as to say she might unintentionally become a villain for the story, which is why in today's newest Naruto Explain video, I want to look at all these points and I wanted to weigh in, if for no other reason than to have something to redirect people to, since I get asked this question more times than I care to keep counting over the last few months. So jumping right into it, I personally don't think any of these are going to be the case from Boruto being told to be cautious around class rep because there's some doomsday scenario that is brought about by her, nor do I think she's going to be revealed as a vessel for Kaguya like I've seen a lot of people suggest, or that she is a ramp that someone uses to bring about destruction. So say Amato is able to manipulate her and we see more of that dynamic. It could happen. Can we rule it out that she doesn't get all in her emotions and does something, makes a bad outcome, or that she gets manipulated by Amato? I don't think we can rule it out based on the last chapter, but if you've been around the channel long enough, you know that I don't rule anything out. I'll discuss any topic if I think it makes for good conversation, but I don't think it necessarily means it is likely either. There's a big difference there. We go right back to that whole who is the person inside of Amato's capsule. I said, hey, I think it's Delta, but hey, you guys said Minato, Kakashi, Itachi, whoever. I talked about it because hey, it makes for good conversation. So I get it. The last chapter, it had one hell of an epic crash out by class rep when she's sitting there telling Sarada that she isn't thinking about the pain that Boruto's under by keeping the truth to himself and carrying this burden alone. I said in the video explaining whether or not Sarada's being gaslit by Sumire, which again, I don't think that she did intentionally. One of the more important things about her character is her ability to put herself in the shoes of those who are around her. If we look at it, it's one of the bright spots about her character, one of the more underrated aspects of her writing. It's that part of her writing that is so hard to miss if you aren't actively paying attention to it, similar to the release of the official Naruto Explained plushie, which is up for pre-order on Gimme Swag's website, and I'm proud to say I had a hand in designing it. It comes with a weighted and removable championship belt, which has the channel logo on it that you guys will be seeing in videos starting in spring of 2025, as well as the 1010 316 t-shirt, which is our required Lady 1010 meme, and it pays homage to my second favorite wrestler of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin, famous for that Austin 316 promo. Use my promo code Naruto Explain 15, as in one word, to get 15% off your order. And best of all, if we don't hit 100 plushies order, then it's 100% fully refundable. So it's a win-win. We hit 100 orders, you get this cool plushie that I helped design. And if we don't, then you get your money back. But either way, you have helped support the channel way more than you guys realize. Pre-orders are now live on my link via the description and the pinned comment until December 31st, so get yours now. We saw all of this on full display in the Omnipotence arc, where we had everyone going crazy over how Ada's powers work, but she was the first one to see the other side of those powers and realize how lonely someone like Ada must be. And you can see it in the way that Ada was drawn, that something in what Sumire said was true. It's one of the reasons that despite the growing evidence that this might be a love triangle stuff that is the root for the immunity to omnipotence, that I still want to cling to it just being Ada's desire for true friendship with the girls who are close to her own age, being why Sarada and class rep are immune. But because they were the two girls who early on, before she ever met them, at least showed some capacity to understand the situation, and we know that omnipotence isn't something Ada can control, I want to cling to that. But I have to say this. I say all that to say Sumire crashing out the way that she did was both a combination of her insecurity and her jealousy and her love for Boruto, clashing with her understanding at Boruto's situation and the frustration at not being able to help him. I don't think this is enough to say that she causes some branch that appears that Kashin Koji never saw 10 Directions. Again, We cannot rule it out, but I don't think it's likely. I would bet money it's not likely. I don't believe her character will be purposed and positioned in that way. I also think the idea that Boruto was keeping his distance from Class Rep when he first returned to Konoha, that's a bit of a stretch. The reason being is that we have to look at things from Boruto's perspective and put ourselves in his shoes and stop thinking like readers for a moment. We knew that Sumire was immune to omnipotence because we were privy to the information that Boruto didn't have. The only person that he knew was on his side was Sarada, and that was because of Momoshiki and Sasuke telling him as much. Shikamaru specifically told Sarada and Class Rep, don't tell Boruto Kawaki you are immune to Ada, because we don't have someone intentionally spilling the information to Ada or Daemon. We gotta play our cards close to the vest. It was Shikamaru's break glass in case of emergency plan. Boruto choosing to observe from a distance, it felt more like that than anything else, wanting to wait and see if Sumire was standing on his side or affected by omnipotence before we know that he opened up to her off screen, like we know happened, where he told Sarada and Class Rep everything that happened over the last 3 years, or rather as much information as he could afford to tell them at the time, because we know he is still keeping information to himself. I'll take it a step further. If people want to say that Kashin Koji saw a future where Sumire messed everything up, it's equally as likely to say he also saw her being an asset to help Boruto, which explains why he approached Sarada when Class Rep is standing right there next to her. Another reason I don't think she's a villain like people are saying. For as much as I troll Sumire, and I'm probably gonna troll on the thumbnail since I tend to do that if you pay attention when I don't agree with the topic of the video, I think this might do irreversible damage to her character. And I'm going to explain to you why. So if you take one of the few well-written characters that we have in Boruto in terms of female characters and revert back to the tried cliche of an emotional female who can't control herself, so she messes up the future, it sets back any progress that Boruto as a franchise has made writing female characters that we have already gotten. It's no better than boiling Class Rep and Sarada down to just being shipping bait. And in my opinion, this would actually be worse because it's feeding into that stereotype that women cannot control their emotions. We can debate all day whether or not that's true. I personally don't think it is, but that reinforces a negative stereotype. Like, I know she's a 15-year-old teenage girl, but damn, that's not a good look here. Even if it's an attempt to humanize her character. I would feel more comfortable with that approach being taken if this was a woman writing the story and not a man. You have to walk a very tight rope with a character like this. She already, because of how she was initially portrayed in the anime, she came off as a Hinata clone until we learned that she had some backbone to her and she was raised by a Danzo loyalist. And in the manga, for as many times as we've seen her do that annoying hand-waving, bashful appearance of, oh my god, I like Boruto, but how could you realize I like Boruto? Now I'm completely embarrassed. All that nonsense that makes me puke when I see it that we saw like in the Code Assault arc. She also had moments where I respect her because she was bold in her assertion that she likes Boruto till she stood on business. Granted, both times when she did that, she was talking to Sarada, which some people, they might take that to mean that, hey, she views Sarada as being a potential romantic rival. But all that's irrelevant, but it needs to be thrown out there for characterization purposes. I don't think that this is a good idea, nor do I think that she is secretly some vessel for Kaguya, which that, again, makes zero sense. Yes, she has the Nue summoning in the manga. The character profile for her does confirm that. Yes, Sasuke does say in the anime that Danzo made Nue when he was getting dangerously close to recreating one of Kaguya's hidden jutsu, which means that there's something that Kaguya possessed that was close to Nue, and that Sasuke saw something similar in his travels across Kaguya's dimensions. However, I don't think we're gonna have Kaguya communicating through Sumire from some whole other dimension where her corpse is trapped inside that six-pass Shibaku Tensei, waiting to be revived because she literally has zero chakra since that jutsu drains the chakra to absolute zero. I don't think the ghost of Kaguya is going to show up with Sumire. There isn't any foreshadowing for something like that in the story. I do concede though, you have the chance that Sumire is used for conflict purposes. There are too many seeds that are planted there for that. For as much as I don't want there to be, there are seeds for it. Her and Sarada disagreeing on how to best help Boruto. Sumire did project a little bit in the last chapter when she's saying that she and Sarada got in Boruto's way, when that's not quite true. It was more projection from her end. when Hidari pulled up, she was the one there on the sidelines with the pom-poms cheering on, not literally with pom-poms, but the point stands, she was on the sidelines. Sarada was the one who countered Hidari and attacked. Sarada was the one doing the interrogation. It wasn't until Sumire, who had good intentions, stated to Konohamaru to protect Sarada because she correctly deduced that Hidari was after Sarada. It was in that split second after that Sarada looked away after hearing that information, that Hidari placed the claw mark behind both of the girls and he hit them with that Chidori jab from behind. When Boruto showed up and they were fighting, Konohamaru told Sumire to play the background and stay out of the way. Boruto literally said he needed Sarada's help to fight because she was Hidari's target and she pulled her weight in that fight. She damaged Hidari at one point in the fight, and no Sarada there means that Boruto can't get his Rasengan Uzehiko at near full power charged up, and she was the one who launched Hidari into the air so Boruto could tag him because Hidari can't fly, so he had no way of escaping the incoming attack that would have killed him had Boruto had more time. There's definitely going to be some conflict with these two girls in this regard. That's absolutely going to be the case. They both want to help Boruto and they both represent two opposite sides. One being the one who enables a loved one by letting them do what they want and trusting in them, and the other stubbornly stepping in to help a loved one by assisting them when they see that their loved one is too stubborn to ask for help. They each have really good intentions. They both each represent some facet of love. But I don't think that this is enough for us to put the blame on Sumire for something coming in the future that is bad, that is her fault. Again, it might very well be the case, and it might just be me as a fan of the character just willingly coping that it's not coming, like Naruto and Sasuke fans still cope. They're going to get these power-ups when they return in the manga, which click here to see the video where I explain why you should keep your expectations in check there. And you can also consider clicking here to watch the newest video from my Anime Explained channel where I discuss non-Naruto content.